ask any Olympic gold medalist, any Olympian at all, or any person that's at the top of their game, what percentage of what you do is mental? You're going to get a big number back. The number that I hear most often is, my sport's 90% mental. 90%. They ask a second question. Well, if your sport's 90% mental, how much time and money have you spent on the mental game since you've been doing this? Has it been 90%? What percentage has it been? You're going to get a very low number. So the thing that they think is most important, they almost ignore. That just doesn't make sense. I mean, if I'm in business and 90% of my income comes from a certain clientele, and I ignore that clientele, I go out of business. If I'm in a war and there's a 90% chance I'm going to be attacked by this one position, I'm for sure going to take care of that position. I'm not going to ignore that. But that seems to be what's happening today as far as the mental game is concerned. The thing that everybody thinks is most important, they don't do much about that. Take a look at school. There are high schools and colleges abound in our country. Well, every single one of those schools has a football team, basketball team, probably a golf team, and there are coaches in all of those sports. But you'd be hard-pressed to find a mental coach in any of them. So the thing that we think is most important doesn't even merit a course in school. Did you take a course in school on how to think in high school or college? Probably not. I didn't. Well, you got to ask yourself the question, why is that true? Why is something that all the top people think is so important that we tend to ignore? I'll give you several reasons. First of all, it's a whole lot easier to study form than it is to study the mental game. It's easier to teach form than to teach the mental game. Because you can demonstrate form, you can video it, you can measure it. You can say, okay, see that champion golfer, see how he's holding the club? Hold the club like that. Try this though. See that champion golfer, see how he's thinking? Think like that. It's a lot harder to quantify how you feel or what you're thinking about. Most of the things that are the most important parts of the mental game are very hard to measure. How do you measure confidence? I mean, you can measure golf swing. You can determine the speed of the ball, but it's very hard to measure what you're picturing, what you're thinking about. Another reason why this is true is because it's more fun to study form. It's if you're a golfer, it's fun to play golf. It's fun to take a golf lesson. So the golf coaches abound. You're not having trouble finding somebody that'll help you with your golf swing. But there's not very many mental coaches around to be able to help you with what you need to think about. Now here at Mental Management Systems, we're often asked this question, what's the difference between mental management and sports psychology? Well, it's very simple. Sports psychology is based on psychology. Mental management's not based on psychology. It's based on what the winners are doing. 100% of what we teach comes from what we're being told and what we observe that the winners are doing and thinking when they're winning. So one way to look at it is sports psychology is based on psychology. Mental management is based on 100% competitor-based. What the competitors who are winning are thinking and using. So here's the bottom line. There's a really good chance that in your sport or application that your competitors are doing the same thing. They're spending all their time and focus on form and pretty much ignoring the mental game. What if you didn't? What if you learned everything you could about the mental game? Wouldn't that give you a huge advantage over your competitors? I mean, this is an opportunity, a unique opportunity for you to be able to take what we have learned over 40 years of study and working with people that have won at all kinds of levels. We have people at the top of their game running our system and using these techniques. What if you could take those techniques and apply them to your game? Wouldn't that give you a huge advantage over your competitors? So it's actually good news that the world is almost ignoring this. What if you don't?